December 28, 2022. Canada transfers 1.9 billion Canadian dollars to Lockheed Martin. First installment for 88 F-35A fighters. Check clears. Money gone. January 14, 2025. Canadian Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Chen checks delivery schedule. First F-35, September 2029. She does the math. 3 years since payment. 4 more years until delivery. 7-year wait from payment to aircraft. Chen's response to subordinate. Per later leaked email, we paid for fighters in 2022 to defend Arctic now. Instead, we're flying 40-year-old CF-18s until 2029, while Russians fly freely. This is insane. That email, forwarded to Defense Ministry in February 2025, triggers crisis nobody anticipated. Because here's what makes this explosive. If Canada ordered Gripen December 2022, first aircraft would have delivered August 2024, already operational, already defending Arctic, already intercepting Russian bombers. Instead, Canada's $1.9 billion bought nothing for 3 years and won't buy operational capability for 4 more years. Welcome to defense procurement's dirtiest secret. Payment doesn't mean delivery. Contracts don't guarantee timelines. 7-year waits considered normal. And here's the smoking gun. Internal Lockheed Martin memo from January 2023, leaked November 2025, proves they knew timeline was impossible when they took Canada's money. Subject line: Canadian Delivery Expectations Management, Timeline Reality Gap. Let me show you that leaked Lockheed memo proving they knew they'd delay. The specific November 2024 Russian intercept failure that cost Chen her command, why Lockheed can't deliver even if they wanted to, and the 6 NATO countries revolting after discovering same 7-year payment to delivery scam. Because when you've paid, but still waiting, while adversaries operate freely, the contract stops being procurement and becomes fraud. November 2024, the intercept failure that changed everything. Before showing you the leaked documents, let me show you why this matters. November 18, 2024, 4:37 a.m. local time. Alert: Nunavut. Russian Tu-95 bomber penetrates within 65 kilometers of Canadian Arctic airspace. NORAD detects immediately. Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Chen commands CF-18 Squadron at Cold Lake, Alberta, 2,847 kilometers from alert. She orders immediate scramble. 2 CF-18s launch. Flight time to intercept: 2 hours 42 minutes at maximum speed. Russian reconnaissance mission duration: 38 minutes. Bomber completes mission. Photographs Canadian Arctic installations. Departs before CF-18s arrive. Chen's after-action report, leaked to media February 2025, is devastating. Russian aircraft penetrated sovereign airspace, completed intelligence collection mission, departed uncontested. CF-18 response time: 162 minutes, exceeded mission duration by 124 minutes. Modern fighter based at alert would have achieved intercept in 11 minutes. Mission would have been prevented rather than observed. Canada paid $1.9 billion, December 2022, for F-35 capability that would prevent this exact scenario. November 2024, still flying 40-year-old aircraft that cannot perform mission. First F-35 delivery, 2029. 5 more years of this. Recommendation: immediate evaluation of alternative procurement timelines. Current F-35 delivery schedule represents critical operational failure. That report triggers Defense Ministry crisis. Chen's career ends. Relieved of command March 2025 for inappropriate criticism of procurement decisions. But her leaked report exposes what everyone knew, but nobody said. Canada paid for capability in 2022 they desperately need in 2024, but won't receive until 2029. By the way, if you're learning how procurement timelines create operational failures, hit that like button and subscribe. The leaked Lockheed memo proving they knew. Now here's what makes Chen's firing explosive. 2 weeks after her relief, internal Lockheed Martin memo from January 2023 leaks to Aviation Week. Canadian Delivery Expectations Management, Timeline Reality Gap, dated January 27, 2023, 1 month after Canada's $1.9 billion payment. Page 2, Customer Expectation Assessment. Canadian public messaging emphasizes 2026 to 2027 delivery timeframe based on initial procurement announcements. Reality, production queue, places Canadian deliveries Q3 2029, earliest, significant expectation-reality gap requires careful management. Lockheed knew in January 2023, 1 month after taking Canada's money, that deliveries wouldn't start until 2029, 6 years away. Page 4. Communication strategy. Recommend avoiding specific delivery dates in public statements. Emphasize production allocation secured rather than timeline specifics. If pressed, reference mid to late 2020s without commitment to specific years. Deliberate strategy to avoid telling Canada actual timeline. Page 6. Risk assessment. Primary risk. If Canadian evaluation had prioritized delivery timeline over capability, F-35 would have lost to Gripen, 18-month delivery. Post-contract, timeline dissatisfaction could trigger political pressure for acceleration, not feasible, or contract reconsideration, legally complex, but possible under certain clauses. They knew they won because Canada didn't prioritize timeline, and they knew revealing actual timeline might trigger contract reconsideration. Page 8. Recommendation. Maintain current communication strategy. Production timeline is contractually disclosed, but not prominently marketed. Canadian defense officials aware of 2029 timeline, but public perception management remains priority. Translation: keep taking the money. Don't emphasize the wait. Hope nobody notices until too late. When this memo leaked March 2025, weeks after Chen's firing for criticizing timeline, Canadian public outrage explodes. Defense Minister forced to explain, "We were aware of delivery timeline when contract signed. Assessment concluded, capability advantages justified wait." That explanation collapses when Chen's November intercept failure report circulates. What good is capability arriving 2029 when threats exist 2024? Why the 7-year wait is structural, not fixable. Now let me show you why Lockheed can't deliver faster, even with public pressure mounting. The Q reality. Fort Worth facility. Only global F-35 production line. Produces 156 aircraft annually across all variants for 17-plus customer nations. December 2022, backlog when Canada signed 847 aircraft ahead of Canada in Q. Canada's 88 aircraft, position 848 to 935 in production sequence. Math: 847 aircraft divided by 156 per year equals 5.4 years before Canadian production begins. That statement triggers second wave of outrage. Late 2029s means 2029, 7 years from payment. Lockheed confirms timeline while defending it. Chen's revenge. The data nobody could deny. April 2025, Lieutenant Colonel Chen, relieved of command but still serving, releases comprehensive analysis. Canadian Arctic intercept performance 2023 to 2024. Operational impact of delayed fighter replacement. Published independently. Submitted to Parliamentary Defense Committee. Data devastating. 2023 Arctic intercept record. Russian incursions. 26 confirmed. Successful CF-18 intercepts. Arriving before Russian mission complete. 4. 15%. Failed intercepts. Arriving after Russian departure. 22. 85%. 2024 Arctic intercept record. Russian incursions. 31 confirmed. Successful intercepts. 5. 16%. Failed intercepts. 26. 84%. 2023 to 2024. Combined 57 Russian incursions, 9 successful intercepts, 16%, 48 failed intercepts, 84%. Chen's projection for 2025 to 2029 until F-35 arrival. Expected Russian incursions 2025 to 2029, 175 plus based on trend. Expected CF-18 intercept success rate 12 to 15%, declining as aircraft age. Expected failed intercepts 150 plus. Gripen alternative timeline impact. If Canada ordered Gripen December 2022, IOC February 2025, alert-based deployment April 2025. Response time 12 minutes versus CF-18's 162 minutes. Projected intercept success rate 88 to 92%. 2025 to 2029 intercepts with Gripen 154 to 161 of 175 versus CF-18's 21 to 26 of 175. Chen's conclusion: Canada paid $1.9 billion December 2022 for capability to prevent Arctic sovereignty violation. By time F-35 delivers 2029. Estimated 200 plus violations will have occurred. Greece, 72 hours. F-35 contract review, signed January 2022, $3.5 billion. First delivery, 2028, 6-year wait. Hellenic Air Force memo, paid 2022 for Aegean air defense capability. Turkey aggressive, 2023 to 2025. Still waiting. Chen analysis demonstrates Gripen alternative would have provided operational capability, 2024. Finland, 1 week. F-35 contract signed February 2022, $10 billion. First delivery, 2028, 6-year wait. Finnish Defense Forces assessment, 1,340-kilometer Russian border, paid 2022 for defense capability. Russian violations continuing, still waiting. Alternative procurement timeline would have achieved capability 2024. Romania, Bulgaria, Portugal, within 2 weeks. All reviewing F-35 evaluations. All discovering same 7-year payment to delivery timeline. All reconsidering based on Chen's operational data. The pattern Chen exposed. 6 NATO countries, all paid 2020 to 2023, all waiting 2026 to 2029, all facing threats now. All discovering 7-year timeline means paying for capability you desperately need but won't have for years. And all discovering Gripen alternative would have delivered years earlier. What happens when payment doesn't mean delivery? Final answer. What does it mean that Canada paid 2022 but still waiting 2025 with 4 more years until delivery? The financial reality paid $1.9 billion. December 2022. Received 0 aircraft. January 2025. Additional CF-18 life extension cost 2023 to 2029. $850 million. Total spent before first F-35, $2.75 billion. Capability gained, 0. The operational cost of failed Arctic intercepts 2023 to 2024. 48 incidents. Projected failed intercepts, 2025 to 2029. 150 plus incidents. Total sovereignty violations during paid but waiting period. 200 plus incidents that paid for capability would have prevented. The human cost. Lieutenant Colonel Chen, relieved of command for stating procurement timeline fails operational requirements. Her career sacrifice exposes truth. Paying without timely delivery equals operational failure. CF-18 pilots and maintainers, flying and maintaining 40-year aircraft beyond certified service life 2025 to 2029 because paid for replacement not arriving. The strategic revelation Chen's analysis proves capability arriving 2029 doesn't defend Arctic 2024. Payment 2022 for delivery 2029 fails operational requirement. Alternative timeline Gripen 18 months would have provided capability when actually needed. The NATO impact of 6 countries discovering same pattern. All paid early 2020s, all waiting late 2020s, all facing threats during gap. Chen's data showing alternative timeline would have worked better. And here's what happens next. Romania announces May 2025, 1 month after Chen analysis. Procurement evaluation will wait delivery timeline equally with capability. First NATO country officially prioritizing timeline post-Chen. Bulgaria follows within 2 weeks. Operational gap during payment to delivery period is unacceptable. Portugal requests Gripen timeline assessment. Chen analysis demonstrates timeline matters more than previously evaluated. The cascade Chen triggered by getting fired for telling truth. NATO countries revolting against 7-year payment to delivery model that Lockheed memo proves was deliberately obscured. Hit subscribe for updates on NATO timeline revolt, because paying 2022 for capability arriving 2029 works when threats are theoretical. Doesn't work when sovereignty violated 200 plus times during the wait. What happens when payment doesn't mean delivery? 1 lieutenant colonel loses her command for stating obvious. 6 NATO countries discover they've been scammed, and $19 billion by 7-year wait while adversaries operate freely. Canada paid 2022, still waiting 2025. Won't have capability until 2029. 200 sovereignty violations during that gap, and 1 officer's career destroyed for pointing it out. Chen was right, and her leaked data is changing NATO procurement forever.